Good morning. Are you able to see the presentation? Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. In the previous lecture, we were discussing about the basics of cloud computing, right? So, what exactly the cloud computing means, and what are the various the delivery models and deployment models of cloud computing, and what is the core technology for implementing this implementation of this cloud computing. So what exactly, what do you mean by the cloud computing? It is nothing but internet-based computing. Okay, so that idea is taken from how we use our this daily utilities like water, electricity, and all. Right. So the basic idea is that where you don't need to have your own infrastructure. Right. Somebody else is owning the infrastructure, and you are using that infrastructure. Right. You are using that infrastructure and you are just paying for the usage. So how much ever the resources from their infrastructure which you have used, and you are only paying for that. Alright. So what is the advantages of that? Yes, you don't need to invest a lot of money for initial set of infrastructure. We also looked at the different characteristics of cloud computing. Right. So the different characteristics of cloud computing are on-demand, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measured service. So now, what do you mean by this on-demand self-service? So on-demand self-service in the sense is which enables the computing resources as and when are required. So whenever you need a computing resource, you just connect to the cloud, right? You just connect to the cloud and you just access the resource, right? It may be hardware resource or it may be software resource. Yes. So no requirement of human interaction. No requirement of human interaction. So they will be providing some standard interface. You just communicate with that standard interface to receive the resources. So based on your requirement. And the second one is with respect to the broad network access. So as I mentioned, this cloud for cloud computing, the basic requirement is that the internet, right? So without internet, there is no cloud computing. Similarly, without internet, maybe you cannot, without virtualization, you cannot think of this cloud computing. And with respect to accessing the resources, right? So this cloud computing resources can be accessed from across the different client platforms. So that is, it may be accessed from the desktop computer, laptop, tablets, workstation, thin client, and so on. As I mentioned, it is internet based, so it can be accessed across the globe. And the third one is about resource pooling. So here IT resources are pooled to serve multiple customers. As I mentioned, so there are so these resources are offered from maybe thousands of servers, and these servers are pooled to serve to the end users. And as I explained in the last lecture, that it may so happen that maybe two user maybe request for some resources, and that resources might be served from the same server, but users think that they're working on maybe different resources. And key technology for implementing that is virtualization. And the fourth one is with respect to the rapid elasticity. So whenever we run an application, right? So based on the application, we may not be knowing the exact amount of resources required, right? So maybe over a period of time, maybe the resource required may increase or it may decrease, right? It is based on the type of application which we are running. If it is a web-based application like maybe a retail shop and all, right? So maybe for maybe as I explained in the last lecture, right? Maybe in a holiday season or some festival season and all. So there will be a more load on the server. So whenever there is a more load on the server, maybe it is better to increase the resources. So that maybe all the client will be able to access that particular website. And the fifth one is with respect to measured service or the metered service, as I explained, right? How much ever the resources you have used, and you just pay for that. Okay, and I mentioned that the key technology for implementing this cloud computing is virtualization. So now what exactly virtualization means is which will abstract the physical resources into a number of logical resources, and these logical resources are offered to the client, or it is offered to the end users. But they think that they're actually working on the physical resource, or they think that they are allocated with the dedicated physical resources. Yes, somebody else is, yes, you can mute. Okay, next is about the cloud computing delivery models, right? So what are the different delivery models in which the cloud resources are offered, right? So the three important delivery models are software as a service, platform as a service, and the infrastructure as a service, right? So the name itself says, first one is the software as a service. Now, what is the software as a service? So this entire application software is offered as a service to the end user. All right. So now, what is the advantages of that? Maybe for some software, so you have to buy that software, and you have to install the software, and you have to maintain that software and upgradation. So those things and all, you don't need to worry about that, right? Suppose if you want to use a particular software, maybe for 1 hour or for one day or for few days, you don't buy that software, but they're offering that as a go model. So based on the number of hours you have used, and you just pay for that, just pay for the usage. It is just like, maybe you just think of, maybe you want to maybe you want to write one create one document. All right, maybe instead of maybe buying maybe MS Office, maybe in that case, so that will be available as a service, and you just create a document. Maybe for that you may take 1 hour, and you just pay for the usage. Similarly, you maybe think of maybe software as a service as maybe some one general example I'm giving. Maybe you want to convert maybe MS Word into a PDF. Right, there may be a software as a service, and which you can use. Right, which will convert maybe your Word document into a PDF document. Right, you don't need to buy that software. Right, and you just use that software. So that is what is called as a software as a service. And the platform as a service. So now, what is the platform as a service? Yes, so this platform as a service is mainly for the application developer, right? If any developer wants to develop an application, all right? So he need a platform. So platform in the sense maybe the required the programming languages, the database support, IDE, whatever it may be. So that will be offered as a service. So the developer just focus on developing the application. You don't need to worry about that installing IDE or programming language or any suitable driver to connect maybe your programming language to the backend database and so on. And the last one is about the infrastructure as a service. So here it will offering the core infrastructure. So core infrastructure in the sense you can explicitly specify like how many CPU core you want, and what is the RAM size and storage. So that explicitly you can specify, and that will be offered to the user in the form of a virtual machine. It is offered to the user in the form of a virtual machine, right? So the user can connect to that virtual machine, and he can install whatever the software he want, and he can work on that particular uh, uh, that virtual machine. All right. So there are many use cases. As I said, maybe for some researchers, they want to maybe some carry out maybe uh, some research, maybe image processing based or any complex task which he need more computing power or more RAM size and all. In that case, instead of buying that high-end servers and all, maybe he can directly use use infrastructure as a service, right? So there are different virtual machines are available based on your requirement, and that he can use. Similarly, maybe when you consider any organization, right? You cannot think of any organization without IT, right? So instead of initially investing money on this IT, maybe they may initially start with maybe they can use IAS services. Then later maybe they can go for they can have their own IT infrastructure. Then we looked at the different deployment models, right? So that is the public cloud, the private cloud, the community cloud, and the hybrid cloud. So public cloud. So one of the example for this public cloud is Amazon, right? Anybody who wants to use the computing the resources, he can directly get those resources from the public cloud. And this one of the concern, right, is the security, right? If very sensitive data and all, maybe all the organization may not want to go for this public cloud, right? So in that case, maybe you can have maybe what is called as a private cloud. You can have your own cloud environment, okay, within an organization. Next one is with respect to the hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud is nothing but it is a combination of maybe it is a private cloud as well as a public cloud. In the sense, maybe initially you are using the resources of their on that private cloud. Whenever they need more resources, right? If that is not accommodated by the private cloud, then maybe you can use a public cloud. So that is what the hybrid cloud. And last one is about that community cloud. All right. So in the case of community cloud, so it can be accessed by only the members of the particular community, and this community will may spread across the different regions. Okay, next we'll just look at what are the challenges challenges of cloud computing, right? Maybe from the provider side as well as from the consumer perspective. First, we look at maybe from the consumer perspectives, right? So, what are the challenges? So one is maybe with respect to the security and regulations, right? So, customers are indecisive to transfer control of sensitive data, right? So, in case of if your data is very sensitive, right, you may not trust the cloud, public cloud. And similarly, the regulation may prevent organization to use cloud services, right? So there are some regulations, right, which may prevent you to save some data. Now, let's say that uh, maybe the data related to India, right? You may not save that data in US or some other countries, right? So there may be some regulation which may prevent storing your data in different countries. Then second one maybe with respect to the network latency. So maybe if you have maybe a real-time application that may suffer due to network latency and limited bandwidth. But nowadays this bandwidth and all may not be that issue. And third one is with respect to the supportability. So legacy of custom application may not be compatible with the cloud platform. And the last one may be interoperability or maybe with respect to the vendor lock-in. Maybe initially you may store your data in maybe one cloud provider. Later maybe you may feel like uh, maybe with respect to the cost or security, maybe you want to go from maybe one cloud to another. It is not that much easy. And second one with respect to the provider perspective. So from the provider perspective, the service warranty and service cost. The resource must be kept ready to meet unpredictable demand. So we say that cloud computing, in the sense, there is an infinite amount of resources are available. So that means the number of users are using cloud resources, and it is the responsibility of the cloud provider that all requests will be served. All right. And maybe and another issue is with respect to the heavy penalty, that is the service level agreements are not fulfilled, right? So normally whenever the client is using the cloud resources, there will be service level agreement. Okay, and they say that, okay, so we will be providing cloud services maybe 99.99. All right, in case if it is a fail for 1 day. All right, so in that case the provider has to pay heavy penalty. All right, if they are not meeting the SLS. Then from the once again from the provider side, huge number of softwares to manage. So huge number of applications and platforms software to purchase. They have to purchase a lot of softwares, and the ROI is unpredictable. As I mentioned this, whenever you want to implement this cloud, in the sense, maybe you may be having the number of the data centers which may spread across the globe. All right, so the thousands of servers, or how you are going to invest money for that. Then no standard cloud access interface. The cloud customers wants to open API. It is something like this. Now, if you want to use some the resources of maybe Amazon, so they will be exposed to some set of APIs, and the same cannot be used for other cloud service providers, right? So you need maybe there is a need for maybe standardization. And next, we will look at one of the cloud providers, that is cloud service providers, that is Amazon. Yes, so Amazon is a pioneer in infrastructure as a service. Yes, Amazon, that is Amazon Web Service, so which is the infrastructure as a service, cloud computing services, which was launched in 2006. The infrastructure consists of compute and storage servers interconnected by high-speed network and support a set of services. And application developers, right? So they can install the applications on a platform of his choice and manage the resources allocated by Amazon. Okay, next is with respect to the Amazon Web Service regions and availability zones. Now, what do you mean by the regions and availability zones? So Amazon offers cloud services through networks of data centers on several continents, right? And these continents are called as regions. In each regions, there are several availability zones interconnected by high-speed networks. So the availability zone is a data center consisting of a large number of servers. All right. So Amazon has maybe the number of regions. All right. So you can see it in the table. So this is the world table. You can see that the different regions are US West, US East, Europe. So these are all the different regions. All right. And in each region, so there are different availability zones. Different availability zones. So this availability zone is nothing but one data center. So they're having one. They're having the data center in that availability zone. You can see that US West, right? In US West, they have two availability zones. They have named it as US West 2A/2B/2C. And similarly, US West has another availability zone, US West 1A, 1B/1C. So this availability zone, in the sense, is that it is where in which the data centers are located. So the Amazon has the number of regions. Each regions may have one or more availability zone. All right. So that availability zone, in the sense, it is a data center consisting of a large number of servers. Okay, so that is the difference between the region and availability zone. So Amazon, so they are offering cloud resources through the different regions. That region consists of number of availability zones. Okay, so these are all the availability zones. Okay, so across the globe. Yeah, this is actually the current as of now. Okay, as of now, how many the regions are there and how many availability zones. So now there are, as of now, there are 25 regions. You can count that blue circles, right? So the blue circle represents these are all the regions. So there are 25 regions and there are totally 81 availability zones. Availability zones and the sense that is a data centers. Now with this one, you just think how big Amazon is. And maybe that the orange circle, okay, which indicates maybe that is their future plan. So that is coming soon. So they are planning to have some more uh, uh, the regions in the near future. Okay, so next is about AWS instance. So now what do you mean by AWS instance? An instance is a virtual server with the well-specified set of resources, including CPU, memory, secondary storage, bandwidth, and so on. Okay, it is not a, it is an instance of the resource. All right. Now how the user will get that instance? All right, how he is going to access that AWS instance? Yes, the user chooses the region and the availability zones where the virtual server should be placed. All right, so user has a choice. All right, if you want to create one virtual machine, okay, he can select in which region he want to select and which availability zones. An instance type from a limited menu of instance type. So they'll be having a menu, okay, or we can say that which is a catalog. All right. So the with that catalog you can specify maybe what configuration of the resources are required. That you can select. Yes, one large, the instance is provided with the DNS name and this name is a map to IP address. Okay, there are the different services offered by the Amazon. All right, the familiar are maybe with respect to the compute. We have Elastic Compute Cloud, that is EC2, and with respect to the storage, we have that is simple storage service, that is S3, then EBS, and so on. And there are other services also like SQS, simple queuing service. Then for CloudWatch, Cloud CloudFront, and so on, and also AWS Management Console. So this through this console where you can access all other services offered by the Amazon. Okay, as I mentioned, these are all some of the services. One is Amazon Web Services. One is AWS Management Console. What is that AWS Management Console? Yes, which allows user to access the service offered by the Amazon Web Services. So that is a management console. Any services if you want to use, right, it will be accessed through the that management console. Then this EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. It is not cloud computing. Elastic Compute Cloud, Elastic Compute Cloud. So which allows the user to launch a variety of operating systems. Then similarly, simple queuing service, which allows to multiple EC2 instance to communicate with each other. And maybe with respect to the storage, you have a simple storage service and EBS, Elastic Block Storage, and so on. Then this CloudWatch. So this CloudWatch for monitoring your service, how much services, how much resources has been consumed and all, right? If you want to monitor that, you can use CloudWatch. Then auto scaling, all right? So that will responsible for maybe scaling of the resources. Then similarly, you have this VPC, so virtual private cloud, where you can create your own virtual network. All right. Okay, so this is the same diagram which represents. So the various uh, Amazon web services. All right. So CloudWatch, EC2, virtual private cloud, auto scaling. Not only this, there are many. If you go to their Amazon website, you will come to know that what are the different services offered by the Amazon. Okay, now we will go through first one, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. Yeah, so what is EC2? Yes, which is Elastic Compute Cloud. So which is a web service for launching instances of application under several operating systems. Right, you can create a, so this is ECT is nothing but you are creating a virtual machines, and while creating a virtual machine you can specify, right? So they have the different what is called as a template from which you can select which operating system you want. Right, you have all this Windows based operating system and Linux based operating system. You can select, right? So which operating system you want. Yes, a user can load an EC2 instance with a custom application environment, manage a network access permissions. In the sense, overall can access that your EC2 instance and run the image using as many or few systems as desired. In the sense, how many virtual machine you want, and that and all you can specify. Okay, so EC2 instance boot from an Amazon machine image, which is digitally signed and stored in simple storage service. So user can access images provided by the Amazon. As I mentioned, they provide the list of images. You can select whatever the image you want and customize the image, and you can customize and you can once again store it in the simple storage service. An EC2 instance is characterized by the resources which provide. In a sense, whenever you want maybe a virtual machine where you can specify uh, uh, how many cores you want and what is the memory size, all those things which you can specify. Specify in the sense that they are providing the template, and you can select the template. Okay, now what are the different instance types are available? Okay, they are providing different templates, as I mentioned in the last lecture. Right, so these templates are classified as standard instance, high memory instance, high CPU instance, cluster computing instance, and so on. Right, so each will be having the different resource configuration. Each will be having the different resource configuration. First one with respect to the standard instance. So under standard instance itself, there are different categories. You can see here, right? So one is a micro, small, large, extra large, and small is a default, right? So so that specifies a different the compute and the memory specification. Okay, then under second category you have high memory instance, all right? So where that for that instance which offer more memory, all right? So for that some of high memory instances are high memory extra large, high memory double extra large, high memory quadruple extra large, and so on. It is based on the application, right? So what kind of application, whether your application is compute intensive or memory intensive, right? So based on you can select the one of the instance type. And uh, another category is a high CPU instance, that is maybe for this high CPU extra large, right? So where it may provide with the more number of cores. And cluster computing, right? Cluster computing, quadruple, extra large, and so on. So here in the table you can see, right? So this is the old table, right? Where you can see that instance name. Instance names are instance name and API name. So that is m1 dot small, m1 dot large, m1 dot x large, m2 dot x large, and so on. You can compare that m1 dot small with m1 dot large. All right. So memory. So what is a memory? So first m1 dot small is 1.7 GB and m1 dot large is 7.5 GB. All right. Then when you go for this x large, that is 15. It is larger than the large. X large is larger than large. Similarly, when you compare the compute unit also for this m1 dot small, it is one. As you can see, one VC and one compute unit, and similarly for larger you'll be having more number of compute unit, and for X large and so on. Okay, so this is a world table which I've taken from your the textbook. Maybe if you go to their Amazon website, all right. So maybe I have this is one snapshot of this standard instance. This is one snapshot of there are some more virtual instances coming under standard, and as well as you have uh, this high memory instance as well as high CPU instance. And this instance cost also. This is also once again the table which I have taken from this textbook. So this is a very old price. Okay, now maybe that price is changed. This may be what 7 8 year old price. Okay, only the difference which you can compare with respect to the Linux and the Windows, right? So the Windows will be having the cost of this Windows image will be more than the Linux one. Now let us see. Maybe we'll quickly go through how to access maybe Amazon Compute Cloud. Maybe how you are in case if you want to work on maybe Amazon EC2. All right, what is the procedure? I'll just give overall idea. Maybe I may not go in details about each and every steps, but you'll get an idea, right? How to use Amazon, how to access Amazon EC2 instance. All right. Uh, the first step is you have to go to their Amazon website. How many have used? How many have created EC2 instance? How many have an account? maybe if you have an account, maybe you can demonstrate also in case if you have the login. Anybody has created an account? Okay, so yeah, anybody has an account?
Sir, like it is the company's account, not my private account.
Okay, but you can create a VM, right?
Yeah,
Free
yeah,
tier.
like yeah, they have created the EC2 instance in that.
Okay. Now in the free tier also you can create, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is the free tier only, I guess.
Okay. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, like I have worked with the EC2 instance.
Now can you demonstrate? Is it possible?
Yeah, like I can like give the basic idea like how it is working and all.
Yeah, maybe 5-10 minutes. I'll just overall steps I will explain. Then maybe if you show the procedure, then maybe everyone will get an idea.
Okay, sir.
Because I don't have the account.
Okay, like I'm not able to share my screen currently.
Now first I'll just quickly go through the procedure. Then you can.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah, first you need to create yes AWS account. Yes, it will ask for username and password. Right. So one important thing for creating an account is that you should provide your credit card or a debit card details. So without that, you will not be able to create an account. Is it correct, Yatin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But anyhow, for free, so there is a free instance for that. It will not be charged. But only thing is that you have to provide your the card details. Okay, then after that, when you log in, all right. So all the services are categorized under maybe compute, database, networking, and security, and so on. All right. So this is the dashboard which you see. All right. So if you want to use that EC2, all right, so that is Elastic Compute Cloud. All right. So that will coming under compute. So compute and EC2, compute and EC2. You just select EC2. Okay. Then what is the next step? Yes. So it will take you through the EC2 dashboard, and in that dashboard, which will show if you are already created any EC2 instances, or so it will list all those things. Okay. The first step is if I want to create any EC2 instance, as I mentioned, right? So where you can specify which region you want to create, right? It will show all the regions in the drop down list. You can select, right, which region you want to create your EC2 instance, right? So there is a provision based on, like, suppose if you are Indian, maybe you want to create it in maybe uh, in India only. All right, maybe you can specify India region also. Yeah, Yatin, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you have any idea where and all the data centers are there in India? One is, it is there in the Mumbai. Other,
Um,
Mumbai it is
I
there.
have to check. Like, yeah, Mumbai is there. Then let me check. I will get back. Like, let me check on the AWS portal itself.
Okay, fine, fine. Yeah, so you have to select the region. Then after that, maybe launch instance. You want to create an instance. Okay. Then after that, as I mentioned, you have to select the image, Amazon machine image. That is nothing but which operating system you want. You will get a list of operating systems under Linux as well as Windows. Right? You can select. So here in this example, which shows that we are selecting Amazon Linux image. Right? You just select. You are selecting the which operating system you want to install on that virtual machine, so that you have to select. So the first step is you have to select the region in which you want to run, you want to create an instance, EC2 instance. Then second step is you have to create an images. Okay. Then the third step is about instance type. As I mentioned, uh, the instances are categorized under what is called as I mentioned, you can see here, right? T2.nano, T2.micro, T2.small, T2.medium, large, small, etc. Right? So which is based on number of CPUs and the memory. You can see here T2.micro. So micro will be having one virtual CPU and 1 GB of RAM. And the nano is one which is providing one CPU and RAM is 0.5 GB RAM. Similarly for small, you will be having a 2 GB RAM, and for medium 4 GB, large 8 GB, and so on. It is just like you are having buying the shirt with the medium, large, extra large, and so on. Okay, so this is the third step. You start with the selecting the region, then followed by the operating system AMI image. Then you select the instance type. Okay, then last one, next is about configuration. So there are other configuration, many configurations. One is that maybe you have to select the number of instances you want. Okay, so here I'm specifying I want to create only one instance. I want to create one instance. And there are other configuration also, right, where you can select network subnet and all. If you want to create more number of more EC2 instance, and you want to have your own virtual network, in that case you can create a virtual private cloud, and there you can have a separate subnet and so on. And also, if you want to use CloudWatch, whether you want to enable monitoring tools or not, so that and all you can specify. Then next step is with respect to the add storage. So by default, it will come with the 8 GB of a secondary storage. Right? Then if you wish, you can add additional storage also. So that is coming under add storage. That is nothing but EBS volume also you can add. Then about configuring the security group. So configuring the security group in the sense who all can access that EC2 instance. All right. For example, in the EC2 instance which you have created, if you are hosting the web server, okay, then maybe you can specify what type HTTP request can be accessed and which port. Those things which can be specified. Correct, from which port and which type of request can access that that EC2 instance, that you can specify. That is nothing but configure security group. Okay, then yeah, followed by yeah, once all configurations are done, yes, you can review those things, whether whatever you have selected is proper or not. Okay, this is another important thing. Yes, you need to. This is the last step and very important step. That is, you need to create a key pair. So that is the public and the private key pair. So whenever you are you want to use access that EC2 instance, that EC2 instances are accessed to through this public-private key. You just look at this dashboard, right? Where first you are giving maybe key pair name. Here the example key pair name is DEV. Any name you can give. So it will create a public and private key, and it will allow you to download the private key. You have to download that private key, and you have to save it in your folder in your local machine. So that is very important. And in case if you lost that private key, later you may not be able to use that EC2 instance. Correct. So you just look at the table, the diagram which is mentioned, right? You just specify that I want to create. If it is for a first time, you have to create a key pair, right? It will automatically create. It will automatically create, and the private key you have to download and you have to save it in your machine. So that is used whenever you want to access that EC2 instance. Whenever you want to access that EC2 instance. Okay, then after that you will see that last one button, right? Launch instance. Launch instance. So then it will start launching the instance. You will see that maybe the process, right? The process of launching the instance. So create instance launches. Okay, then you can see the procedure, various a life cycle. It has a life cycle, right? So it start with the pending. Like if already other VM instances are in the queue, right? It will show that it is in the pending state. Okay, maybe after a few seconds, you will see that yes, it is running. It is running. Okay, now you can see the tab, right? So it is the name of the EC2 instance. Name of the EC2 instance is DEV web server. That is the instance name which we have given. Any name you can give, and the instance ID, and what is the instance type and availability zone. So these are all we only selected. Which availability zone we want to create an instance, all right? And similarly instance type, so that we only created. Okay, now this shows that your EC2 instance is up and running. EC2 instance is up and running. Okay, so now by default it will uh, the IP address, all right? So it will create by default, it will create a private IP address, all right? With this private IP address, any user cannot access this. Any user cannot access, all right? So then we need to request for an IP address called as a elastic IP address. Elastic IP address. So that is a kind of public IP address. Through that public IP address, you can access that EC2 instance from anywhere. The procedure you can see here, right? Maybe if you want to create an IP address, elastic IP, maybe you will get a drop down list where you can select elastic IP, and where you can request for allocate a new elastic IP address. Okay, once you get an that IP address, you can associate that IP address, elastic IP address, to the virtual machine instance which you have created. All right. Okay. Next is about how you are going to access that virtual machine. Now that instance is available. That instance is nothing but your virtual machine. Virtual machine. Now how you are going to access it from your machine? Okay. For that there are different tools. Either you can use remote desktop, or you can putty tool, or any tool you can use to connect to that EC2 instance. And now you can see here, right? So you are specifying the IP address. You are specifying the IP address, and also you need to specify, as I mentioned, you are already downloaded that private key, right? So you have to specify the location of that IP address. You have to specify the location of that IP, right? So here you can see here, right? From your local machine, you have stored that mm, so, not IP address, private key in that in the location. That location is nothing but administrator and a desktop, and that is a private key, right? So once you specify your IP address and this private key, okay, then you will get that get an screen something like this, all right? So this is an EC2. So this is a separate, dedicated, separate machine, which is nothing but virtual machine. Right? I'm sure that all of you have used Oracle Virtual Box, right? In Oracle Virtual Box, you have. I'm sure that everybody has installed. Ubuntu, right? When you run that any operating system in Oracle VirtualBox, how it looks. So here also the same thing. Then after that you can install any application you want, correct? And you can work on this image, work on this virtual machine. Okay, so this is about how do you access, how do you create a virtual machine, and you can work on this virtual machine. You can try this also, and the one very important thing is that even though this uh, you can create a free virtual machine, but make sure that once you don't need that virtual machine, you make sure that you are going to stop that virtual machine. All right. Suppose if you select maybe high-end virtual machines and all, and if you don't if you don't stop that virtual machine, then maybe your debit card or a credit card, the money will become empty. Okay, so this is very important. You have to start. So there is a provision for starting the VM instance as well as stopping the VM instance. Whenever you don't want, you have to immediately stop that instance. Otherwise, in the background, for each hour, the corresponding the amount will be deducted from your account. Okay, this is about EC2 instance. Uh, Next is about storage. Okay, so Amazon also offers storage that is called a simple storage system. It is just like how you are using your Google Drive, right? So the service is designed to store large objects. An application can handle an unlimited number of objects ranging from 1 byte to 5 uh, terabytes. This also once again, okay, now it may be more also. An object is stored in a bucket and retrieved via unique developer assigned key. A bucket can stored in a region selected by the user. Supports a minimal set of function read, write, delete, and that object name is global. All right. S3 maintains for each object the name, modification time, the access control list, and so on. Authentication mechanism ensures that the data is kept secure. Object can be made public, and rate can be granted to other users. S3 computes MD5 for every object return and returns in a field called E tag. A user is expected to compute MD5 of an object stored or written, and compare it with the E tag. This is just to know that. So before uploading, maybe you can compute MD5, and after uploading, you just compare, because if that value is same, you can make sure that the data is not lost during transmission to the cloud. Okay, so here is also one simple demonstration to get overall idea of how to use S3 bucket. See here, the bucket is nothing but uh, it is a folder only. Okay, it is a folder. Sorry. Yeah, this is a management console. You can see the management console. I said all the services are categorized under compute, storage, and so on. Right. So S3 is coming under storage. Right. You just select simple storage service. Okay. Then you will get a screen something like this. Okay. If it is the first for the first time, correct, you will have an option. Yes, whether you want to create a new bucket, upload your data, and set up the permission. So these are self-explanatory, right? So whenever you want to upload the data to the cloud, that is a simple storage service, right? First, you need to create a new bucket, right? So when you select new bucket, right, you have to give the name, right? So this is what you will get a screen. Right, where you are giving the bucket name. So the bucket name is nothing but it is a folder name you are giving. Okay, then also you can specify the region where you want to create this bucket or where you want to create this folder, where you want to create this folder. Okay, then maybe you can see, yes, when you create a bucket, the bucket and its objects are not public by default. By default, it is not public. Then maybe with the configuration, where if you want to make it a public, if you want everyone to access that the contents of S3 bucket, you can make it public. Okay, then after creating a bucket, all right, then you can upload the files, upload the files into the bucket or the into the folder. Like so, you can get a screen something like this. You can add files. Okay, this is the procedure, right? It is just like how you are uploading the files into your OneDrive or Google Drive. Okay, then as I mentioned, by default it is a private. If you want maybe everyone to access the data in that simple storage service, you can make that as a public. There are other configurations also. If you wish, you can go through that Amazon S3. Right. So this is just an idea uh, to how to use this. Uh, Amazon resources, Amazon Web Service. And another storage is that is Elastic block store. Okay, as I mentioned that when you create an virtual uh, Amazon EC2 instance or virtual machines, right? By default, you will get a storage of around 8 GB, right? So elastic block store in the sense, if you wish, you can add other. It is just like adding another volume or another drive to the EC2 instance, another drive to the EC2 instance. It is something like this. Now let's say that maybe you are creating an you have created an EC2 instance and you have installed uh, uh, installed required applications and all. Right after running, maybe you don't want to run for a longer period of time, and you have to stop that instance. You have to stop or destroy that instance. Right, when you destroy that, and you'll no longer be able to get the data which applications which you have installed that EC2 instance. Okay, only if you destroy that, but you want to use that. In that case, what you can do is you can use that EBS. All right, and for that EBS you have to pay for less as compared to the your EC2 instance. And this is a simple dashboard how you can create EBS volume. All right, you just get EBS volume. All right, where you can specify the storage and availability zone. And as you see, for EC2, you can just specify that attach volume. Okay, so when you specify this attach volume, uh, that EBS will be attached to the EC2 instance. Yeah, Yatin, will you demonstrate today or maybe in the next class? I don't know how much time you need.
Yes, sir. Like it will take 5 to 7 minutes. Is
Okay,
it?
then
It is okay. Like anytime.
are you comfortable now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it is not working, also fine, but others will get a feel of how to create a virtual machine. If you already created that, also you can show.
Okay.
Okay, I will just. Yeah, I made you as a presenter.
Yes. Let me share the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Yes. So this is like the AWS login portal. So we have to enter the username here. Yeah. So when you log in, like this is the main homepage it will redirect to. So as Sir said, this is the services dropdown, which includes all the services provided by the Amazon Web Service. So you can have a look here. Like these are all the services like EC2 instance, then S3 for storage. Then in the right left hand side, you can see RDS. So this is for relational database system for backend thing. And yeah, like we can use any instance for like the purpose we want. So let me show you the EC2 for now. So when you click on the EC2, it shows the dashboard. So these are the various characteristics it shows, like instances running, then the key value pairs, load balancers, security groups. So when you click on the instances, it like this instance is already created by the company. So it is showing here. So you can have a look that the name of the instance ID, then instance state is running. Then the instance type we have used is t2.micro, which is the like minimum instance. And yeah, when you click on this instance ID, it will redirect you to a more like detailed page which includes all the IP addresses and all that are needed, like the security groups. So like these are all the security groups we have used. So for example, like this group redirects all the traffic via the internet to this port number, which is the 80. So yeah, according to our needs and purpose, we can add any security group here. So these are the various tabs here. So like if we want to interact with our web application, so we have to, there is a button here called connect. Yeah, there is a button here, connect. So we have to click on connect and then again connect. So it will redirect to a new SSH portal. So like this SSH portal is the main interface where we can connect to our application. So like there are several commands we can execute here, like git pull, git push. Then we can see the status of our application, then start and stop application. So like various functions can be executed here. And yeah, like basically this was the EC2 instance. So like on the right hand side top, you can see the regions drop down. So these are the various regions available. So as of now, like in this in India, only Mumbai is visible here. But like I searched on web, so totally there are 3 in India. One is Mumbai, Chennai, and then New Delhi. So yeah, like due to security reasons, it is preferable to select the nearest region from your server. Yeah, yes, sir, that is it.
Okay. Is it possible to create a free instance?
I don't know. Like, if their free tier is over, then I guess it will be chargeable for them.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you, Yatin.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so next one more service is the Cloud Watch. All right. So whenever an application is running uh, in a EC2 instance, okay, it need not be EC2 instance, and any resources which is offered by the Amazon, right? So we can monitor the resource usage, right? It may be so the CPU instance, this is the CPU, RAM, all those things. Yes, monitoring infrastructure used by application developer, users, and the system administrator to collect and track metrics important for optimizing and performance of applications and for increasing the efficiency of resource utilization. You can come to know that, like, so this is a resources which I have taken, whether I'm using that complete resources or not, whether it is underutilized or overutilized, right? In case if it is overutilized, right, maybe you can think of having one more instance, or if it is underutilized, maybe you can think of reducing the number of instances if you have created a more number of instances, so on. Yes, without installing any software, a user can monitor either 7 or 8 pre-selected metrics. and then view graphs and statistics for these metrics. Yes, you can see these details in the form of a graph, right? Resource usage you can view in the form of a graph. Yes, when launching an Amazon machine image, the user can start the CloudWatch and specify the type of monitoring. So there are basic monitoring and detailed monitoring, right? For if you select basic monitoring, which is of free of charge, which actually collects data at 5 minutes interval for up to 7 metrics, right? You can monitor 7 metrics with a regular with the interval of 5 minutes. Suppose if you want to detail monitoring, right? Maybe then maybe you need to pay for that, and it is what micro level, right? So subject to charge, collects data at 1 minute at interval. Okay, so this is one demonstration for the same how you can use the cloud watch. Okay, so the cloud watch is mainly used for the it is a monitoring service to get to know that how much the usage of the resources, right? Okay, the terms associated with the cloud watch. So that is a dashboard, alarms, and logs and events. Okay, it has a dashboard and maybe alarm. Maybe if what if the maybe CPU usage is more than this particular threshold, right? You can set alarm and so on. Then similarly, you can it will you can aggregate logs and so on. Okay, now this is one of uh, uh, so this is the dashboard associated with the CloudWatch, correct? You go to that dashboard panel. If you want to create your own dashboard, you just specify that okay, you create a dashboard, and where you can specify the name of that dashboard. Okay, so in this example, the dashboard name is web server. Okay, then you can specify the widget type. Alright, how that the resource utilization you want to view. Alright, you can select the widget. So there are different widgets are available. You can select any widget. Alright, uh, in which graphical representation you want to see the utilization of a particular resource. Okay, then followed by yes. So now this CloudWatch is for which service? The CloudWatch which we have created, which is which service? Whether it is for EC2 instance or whether it is for EBS or so on. If it is for your virtual machine, you just select that EC2 instance. Then after that, if you might have created a number of virtual machines, all right? The metrics which you want per instance basis or not that you can specify. So here you say that I want that metrics in terms of per instance metrics. Then after that you can specify, right? Specify the metrics. So here you can see that I want to see the CPU utilization. Let's say that I want to see the CPU utilization, or similarly I want to see the maybe RAM utilization, whatever it may be. There you can see the metric. Okay, in this example, it shows that yes, you want to see the CPU utilization of EC2 instance. You want to see the CPU utilization of EC2 instance. Then you just select create a widget. Then you can see the CPU utilization. Yes, CPU utilization. You can see this. Okay, based on you can decide, right? If any one application, any web application is running, all right? If utilization, if it is highly utilized, okay, if the load is more highly utilized, then you can think of you can create one more instance along with the load balancer, so that the load will be distributed across the different instance. Similarly, if a load is very low and you are already using multiple instances, you want to scale down. You can reduce the number of virtual machines. All right. Okay. Similarly, there are many services offered by uh, Amazon, right? So some of them are CloudFront, Elastic Load Balancer, MapReduce, DynamoDB, and so on. All right. So we can go through each and how to use this. So CloudFront, which is as a content delivery CDN, content delivery network. It is something like this. You have created an web application if it is hosted in India, all right, and if it is accessed by maybe client from maybe US and all, the latency will be more. Okay, in that case, normally web services and all, web application and all, what they'll do is that will be distributed across the globe, so that they will access that website from nearby that CDN server. Then similarly, you have Elastic Load Balancer. Okay, it is based on the application. In case if you create a multi-tier applications, and as a number of if the loads are more, we can create a more number of virtual instances. And at the same time, you need a load balancer. That means the request will be hit on the load balancer, and load balancer will distribute the load across the EC2 instance, or the backend application, and whatever you are running. Then similarly, you have this MapReduce. I hope you already studied this in maybe you have big data elective course which you have studied, right? So where you have studied about Hadoop distributed file HDFS and MapReduce, which is a programming model where you have to set up a master node and a number of slave node configurations, those things. Now that everything will be available as a virtual machine, and you can use that also. And similarly, they are also offering NoSQL database. So one of the popular database, NoSQL database, which is offered by the Amazon is a DynamoDB. So similarly, there are a lot of services are offered by the Amazon. If you want, you can go through each services offered by Amazon. Okay, so there are a tutorial for each one also, step by step process on what are each services offered and how to use step by step. Even you can look at other websites also. Okay, this is about maybe about uh, Amazon uh, uh, Amazon services. All right. So the most importantly, EC2, EC2, then S3, and CloudFront is also used, and the DynamoDB and so on. Okay. In the next lecture, we will see other maybe other cloud service providers, maybe from Google and Amazon. What are the services which they offer, to get an idea, so that you can explore on your own. Yeah, any doubts so far? Okay, so if no doubt, thank you all. Just a minute, I will take the attendance.